Hello and welcome to the G String Show. I'm your host Martin Greekin. This week we've got another chance to speak to a star of the Scottish music scene, which is a tapestry of many artists. But enough of my waxing lyrical, on with the show.
I'm an American singer-songwriter born in Detroit, way back in 1959. I've been living in Edinburgh for the last 17 and a half years. I'm a singer-songwriter. Americana is, I guess, probably the best genre I can describe it as. American style, mainly folk-based, but it sort of it covers a few genres like blues and rock and roll and stuff like that. And like I say, here I am, Pat Dennis, 61-year-old musician. I'm quite well known on the scene here in Edinburgh. I've been around. I've been on it for pretty much the day job before lockdown was. All I do is play music in bars all around Scotland and stuff like that. And I'm looking forward to getting back to that one day.
Who's your musical inspiration?
Well, Woody Guthrie, Hank Williams, more contemporary people like Steve Earle and Springsteen, Dylan, the band. I'm a real huge fan of the band. Some more recent ones are people like Wilco, who I think are probably one of the best bands out there right now. Things like that, but also a lot of other things. I'm massively influenced by the Clash. I mean, they kind of opened up a door for me back in the 70s. I realized that I didn't have to be this sort of virtuoso guitar player to actually make music. I mean, then there's other things like Nebraska, the album by Bruce Springsteen. That really kind of set my stall for what I was going to try to do for a long time, which is mainly a lot of stuff I do is, I play solo acoustic a lot. So, I thought, this is something I can do, so, but, that's kind of, there's a lot of things out there. I mean, like, there's, people like John Prine who, and Guy Clark, Townes Van Zandt, there's many people out there that I've listened to and taken on board, and they're kind of referenced some in part in bits in my songwriting. Because of this lockdown stuff, we are absolutely up against the wall, and a lot of my colleagues who do this for a living, like myself, we were expecting last year that we'd probably be at the other side of this in 2 or 3 months. We never saw it going up to Christmas, and we certainly didn't see it coming into 2021. And now we're probably not looking at getting back on our feet till May or June, if we're lucky, and that's the big deal right now, is that people out there are desperate for live music. I mean, I played my last official paid gig on the 18th of March in Edinburgh, and apart from doing some busking outside of Bannerman's with some of the guys that are on the album and stuff just for a laugh, I've only played one paid gig since, and that was on the 9 months to the day on the 18th of December in Inverness at Blackfriars Bar. And we were due to come back, and I was supposed to be playing 4 gigs there this month, and all of a sudden we're back in lockdown again. So, what can you do?
So what got you into music?
I mean, my dad was a big jazz fan. My mom was like into sort of crooners and country music. I think probably stuff like the Beatles and the Stones back in the 60s. Dylan to a lesser extent at that point. It was when I was much older that I started understanding how really immense the guy was, and then started looking back, as I got sort of further along, I started looking further back at the stuff that, that kind of got us to where we are, or where we were then, and also where we are today, there's a lot of things out there, and I'm discovering more and more of them as time passes.
The rest jump ship, they
Circle them up and remember, we stand together or we fall down. Well, let me tell you how this all started. It started back in March when lockdown kicked in. I had a couple of years before had recorded a bunch of tracks with Scott Smith, who's from the band Scottish band Degrassi, who's the he's the CEO of Bread Street Blues Kitchen. And what he was doing is he was taking video. He took those tracks, and he was taking. I was doing this thing on my music page called "Messing Around in the Living Room." With me just playing some old songs and new ones that I was writing at the time. And he basically started building basic tracks around him in the studio because he had nothing else to do. He was bored. So we were still in lockdown, but I didn't actually hear any of this album until the sort of beginning of July. Scott said, "Come on, I want you to have a listen to what I've been doing with your songs." And then that's where the album kind of really started kicking off. We started really going to work at. And initially it was going to be 10 songs, and then it was 12, and then it was 14. And then we had all the stuff for a second album that he was working on as well. And so now it's the first album, Mutineer, is going to be 15 songs. And the second one, which is going to be called Broken Lullabies, which is more of an acoustic album, is going to be released sometime, whenever, So we don't know yet how that's going to pan out. And I mean, I wrote during the first lockdown, I wrote 45 songs because I was just, I had nothing else to do with my time, I'm apart from doing live streams and sitting around the house and drinking way too early in the mornings and stuff like that, and listen to Popmaster on radio too, and just really not, there was really not a whole lot else to do, so I got half a dozen musical instruments lying about the house, so you think, okay, well, I might as well do something with them, got nothing else, nothing better to do. It's already here, it rolled into town, rolled itself up here. Oh, circle up, lock it all down, it's the only way to save this town. Now, the Circle of Wagons was written in the very first week of lockdown, and then Circuit Breaker, I was actually sat in Inverness in a bar having a pint, and the news came across that we're going into this Circuit Breaker lockdown, and I kind of got annoyed, and I wrote this song kind of sitting at the table, and wrote the music for it when I got back to the flat I was staying in, when I got back to a guitar. And didn't think I was going to do anything with it. I thought, I've got enough songs on the album. There's 14 of them on it, so that was enough. And then 10 days or whatever later, Nicola Sturgeon comes on and says that, she's going to extend this Circuit Breaker lockdown in inverted commas. And I called up my producer in the studio, said, "Drop what you're doing. We're going to record this song today." I was like, and we did it. We recorded the basic track in Bread Street Blues Kitchen Studios that day, and the next day we went to Bannerman's where we recorded all the main band parts. In the big gig room there, because we needed space for other musicians to play, because the Blues Kitchen is a very small home studio. And then we recorded the video there as well, about maybe 4 or 5 days after that. And we managed to rush it all out in under, I'd say we did it, the whole thing from start to finish was under 2 weeks, and it was actually out on Bandcamp and everywhere else, and the video was out, and it was up there. We were just kind of I was just a knee-jerk reaction to the whole thing. It was like, I'm going to put this buggy thing out, and then we did the video and put it out there. And
we've had enough. Time is tight and times are tough. How much more are we supposed to take? One more straw and our backs are gonna break, but we don't surrender. Heartbreaker, soul shaker, undertaker, we don't need your circuit breaker. Heartbreaker, soul shaker, we don't need your circuit breaker. Heartbreaker, soul shaker, we don't need your circuit.
Hi, thanks for watching the G-String Show. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and you're going to click that like button and also the subscribe button. Don't forget to share to your friends!